Good morning, everyone. Well, it's morning where I am and possibly where most of you are, but if you're in another time zone or you're watching this later in the day, hello to you too. So I'm coming to you live from Sydney at the moment. I arrived in last night and I swear I've just done the quickest get ready ever because I slept through my alarm. But anyway, here I am. And today I want to talk about listening in our Rock Your Mojo session. And listening in possibly two ways. Hi, Chris. So I wanted to talk about listening from us, listening to our kids. And I also wanted to talk about listening from being listened to. And not just by our kids, but by others, and potentially finding ourselves a listening partner. A friend of mine posted a quote on her Facebook page the other day, and I'm just going to read that. It says, "Being listened to is so close to being loved that most people cannot tell the difference." So I thought that was a really good place to start. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you're trying to talk to someone and maybe it's about something important, or even if it's not that important, but if they're not fully engaged or not seemingly listening to you, how does that make you feel? I know when our kids do it to us, it makes us feel quite frustrated. But have you ever noticed how it makes you feel if you're trying to talk to another adult and they're kind of half listening, kind of half looking in your direction, but kind of half still doing whatever they're doing? How does it really make you feel? I know for me it feels like maybe they're not respecting me so much, or what I've got to say is not important, which can then equate to maybe I'm not important enough for them to listen to me. So if you can just reflect a little bit on how it makes you feel when you're not fully being listened to by someone, that would help you understand how your kids might feel if you're only half listening to them, or you're continuing to do other things while they're trying to talk to you. This is something I've been working on. I know as women we like to multitask. As mothers in particular, we have to multitask sometimes. We can't always drop everything we're doing just to listen to our kids when they want to talk to us. But I think we need to make a big effort to give them our full attention whenever we can. I know for me, sometimes I've got pots on the stove and, things are about to burn and the kids want to have a deeper, meaningful conversation. And I'm like, okay, hang on a minute, I've just got to finish what I'm doing in the kitchen. But then I make sure, once all that's sorted, that I do go to them. Oh, you can't hear us. Okay, well, maybe you can catch us later. Sorry, just lost my train of thought there for a minute. So there are definitely times, and maybe when you're driving, you can't turn around and fully look at your child while you're driving and they're wanting to talk to you. But when you can, it's really important that you give them your full attention. And I want to talk about full body listening. So I know sometimes, I might be on the computer and I'm typing away or whatever, and my kids want to talk to me, and I'll sort of still have my hands half on my computer and I'll turn to look at them and say, "Yes, honey, what is it?" That's not really giving them my full attention. I've still got half of me somewhere else. And that's quite obvious to them, or if I've got my phone in front of me and I'm still, got it right there near my face, open and whatever, and I'm just turning to the side to talk to my kids. "Yes, honey, what is it?" Again, I'm not giving them my full attention. So what I've been really working on is putting down whatever it is I'm doing. If all I'm doing in the kitchen is the dishes, I'll stop doing the dishes and I'll fully face my child. I'll give them my full body attention. If I'm on the computer and they want my attention, often they'll walk over to me. So I will stop typing, I will turn in my seat, and I will fully give them my attention, my full body attention. And I find that if I do that, they'll ask me their question, we'll have our conversation. Sometimes they'll just want to cuddle, and then they'll go off and they'll be happy doing their own thing. I also try and sort of plan ahead with them a little bit, and I try and give them some time and attention, my full self for whatever period of time, 20 minutes, half an hour, before I have to do my activities. Whether I have to be cooking dinner or, spend 5, 10, 20 minutes on the computer, I'll give them my attention first, and then I'll find that they'll quite happily go and do their own thing. So that's sort of planning ahead. But if they interrupt me, I'm trying really hard not to look at it now as an interruption. It's them needing me. It's them needing my time and my attention. And when I show them that I'm listening to them, that makes them feel valued, respected, and, that they're important to me. And that's exactly how they should feel. So I'm really working on that right now, and so I wanted to talk about that with you. So full body listening. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, have you got someone in your life that really listens to you? And I'm not talking so much now about the kids. I know that, they get distracted and, you might have to ask them 10 times to put on their shoes in the morning or whatever. There's a whole lot of other elements to what's going on in a child's mind. They're fully only focused on their little task at the time, and it's hard for them to sort of think ahead and do all the things. Even if you've asked them to do 3 things, they might only remember the one thing. So there's elements to that with children, but with us as adults, it's often hard for us to find someone who will be able to fully listen to us. And I've just been watching a video from a summit that I signed up for a few weeks ago, and this lady was talking about listening partnerships. We might have another half, a significant other, and they'll listen to us, in terms of, yes, you ask them to do something, they might do it, or you might have a bit of a rant, and they might listen to you. But often people will want to jump in and give you suggestions on how to fix whatever it is you're ranting about, or, they'll jump in with their version of the story, or an example of another time that something happened to them that's similar to what's happening to you. So you don't really have them fully listening to you, because they often turn it into something about them, and not on purpose. We all sort of have things on our minds, and that we need to get off our chest. You might talk to your mum, for instance. I know I've gone to my mum on a number of occasions to talk to her about what's happening for me, and she completely turns it around into, oh yes, I remember when that happened to me, or, well, this happened to me and this was worse than what's happening to you, so you'll be fine. And so I'm like, okay, well, actually, no, I just really want to talk about what's going on for me right now. I don't want to know about what happened to you. And that might sound selfish, but sometimes we just need to talk about what's going on for us, and we can't find that one person unless we pay for a counsellor or whatever. We can't always find someone who's going to be there and just listen without judgment, listen without commenting, listen without telling us their side of the story, or a version of what's going on for them. So what I've learned recently about is finding a listening partner. And so I'm going to go about doing this for myself first, and then I'm going to hopefully get some of this going on in our group here. So a listening partnership can, what they recommend is that it's not necessarily someone super close to you, which can be good and bad, If it's someone close to us, we're often able to talk to them more freely because they know us better. So if we've got someone who maybe doesn't know us so well, we might not be so open to sharing a lot of things with them. But apparently it's like a muscle, the more you use it, the easier it gets. So if you do develop a listening partnership with someone who you don't know that well, obviously you're going to get to know them better, but it's probably easier to set some boundaries about the whole listening partnership with people who you're not as close to. But it doesn't matter, you can pick anyone. It's just that there are some sort of basic guidelines, and the idea is that and the time frame can be set by you. So you might say 15 minutes. You've got half an hour to spend with this person, so you set a timer for 15 minutes and you get to just offload and talk and share, and the other person just listens. Seriously, just listens. They don't comment, they don't go, oh my gosh, they don't overreact to what you're telling them. They just listen for a whole 15 minutes. And then at the end of that time, then it goes to the other person. So the person who originally was talking will now be the listener, and the other person will talk for their 15 minutes and just share and just offload and talk about the things that they need to talk about. and then at the end of the half an hour, you're done. For the most part, you don't ask a lot of questions. You don't necessarily bring up at the next listening session that you have with that person what they talked about the last time. You let them just talk about whatever it is on the next time that they need to talk about. It could be that you start with 15 minutes each and then you move to half an hour each, and depends what you want to work out and how much time you've got. But I learned about this and thought this was just such a good idea, because you go in with the full intention of just listening to what that person has to say, and you make it a time that you don't sort of do any social interaction. How was the weekend? What did you get up to with the kids or whatever? It's not about that. It's about, right, I've got this on my chest and I need to get it off my chest, and I just need someone to listen. So I wanted to talk about that, and maybe in time we can do some of this in our group. We can pick some listening partners, or you may be able to do it already in your life out there with the people that you know. But the benefits of this can be huge. Often we keep a lot of stuff bottled up inside us and we don't get it out, and it brings us down, and it makes us possibly grumpy, or we don't respond well to what the stress is going on in our life. But if we can just start talking more about things and getting off our chest, it can make the world of difference. I was listening to this lady in the summit, and she was giving some examples of how it had changed people's lives just because they had an opportunity to talk and not keep things bottled up inside. So listening is such a big topic, and I think I've covered some really basic items there. But full body listening I talked about is, especially with your kids and with others as well. I try and do this with my work colleagues or with friends. I try not to sit there thinking about what I want to tell them either. I just fully give them my full body attention and try not to look like I'm busy doing something else. Occasionally it's hard to turn my mind off to whatever else is going on, so there might be something going on in my mind if someone's talking to me, but I want to give them my full body attention and full listening, and particularly with my kids. So that's one tip. And then the other thing I just mentioned too was the listening partnerships, and finding someone who you can have that alternating listening session with. And if you've got any more questions about that, or you want to explore this topic more, then we can do that in the group. And I hope that's been helpful for you. That's today's Rock Your Mojo session. I'm keeping it nice and short and sweet, and I look forward to catching you next time. Okay, take care and have a great day. Bye.